Okay, so thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us for tonight's discussion about public safety in the West 7th neighborhood. My name is Casey Carmody, and I'm one of the board members for the West 7th Fort Road Federation. If you're not familiar with the Federation, we are the district council for this area of St. Paul. The Federation, more broadly, is the local organization that coordinates and organizes participation on issues that affect our neighborhood, and we advocate on behalf of the West 7th area. The Federation is supported by our small staff and is led by a board of residents who live in the West 7th neighborhood. The Federation is split into 3 areas with dedicated board members representing different parts of the neighborhood. We do hold monthly meetings that are open to everyone, and you can find more information about the Federation online at fortroadfederation.org. Additionally, as one of the Area 1 coordinators on the board, I do especially want to welcome everyone and thank you all for joining this discussion. Area 1 covers the neighborhood basically from Kellogg Boulevard down to St. Clair Avenue, and it does include the 7th Street Truck Park where the mass shooting occurred this past weekend, killing Markeisha Wiley and injuring several others. I was shocked to learn of this news, and I know my fellow neighbors were too. And I'm really looking forward to a productive conversation tonight about safety in our neighborhood in the aftermath of this tragedy. I now want to turn it over to Annie Ryerson, another West 7th Fort Road Federation board member, to say a few words. So I'll turn it over to Annie.
Thank you, Casey. My name is Annie Ryerson. I am one of 3 Area 2 coordinators on the Fort Road Federation board. So Area 2 borders Area 1, as Casey described, and the north border is St. Clair Street, and it runs south to Armstrong Avenue, and then goes to 35 East and to the river. So if you live in that neighborhood, I'm here to represent that group. I've lived on James Avenue for 6 years, love the neighborhood. I am saddened by the recent tragic events in our community that brings us together tonight. But I am proud to be part of a neighborhood that chooses to come together when tragedy strikes. Tonight we will hear some comments from Councilmember Noecker, as well as Commander Allison and Commander Molnar, who are here to provide an update from the St. Paul Police Department. And then the majority of tonight will be open to comments and questions from the community. And Tony, who is the secretary for the Fort Road Federation, will be facilitating that. But do keep in mind, as you think of questions and comments, we will be limiting them to 1 minute each, just to try to create enough time for everyone to have a chance to speak if you would like. And then if there's additional time, we'll have more follow-up. So that is what to expect for the evening. And now I will pass the floor to Councilmember Noecker.
Thanks so much, Annie. Thank you, Casey, and really thank you to all of you for taking time to be here tonight, and to the West 7th Fort Road Federation for bringing us all together quickly, so that we could heal and we could have the conversation that we really need to have about the most recent tragedy and also many other incidents that have occurred in the neighborhood. I do want to recognize that several of my colleagues either have already joined us or plan to join us tonight from the City Council. Councilmember Tolbert, I believe, is already here. I know Councilmember Prince plans to attend, and others of my colleagues may be here as well, because although this tragedy most recently struck us in Ward 2, this is
Sorry.
That's okay. I thought maybe I was getting like the mic pulled out for me.
The admit button is right by the.
It's all good. You can do that anytime, Emily. So I do appreciate everyone coming together. I know how painful these last few days have been for our neighborhood. And I know that we're all probably coming tonight with a lot of different feelings and a lot of different reactions and recommendations and things that we want to see done in response. But I also want to acknowledge that there's a power in all of us just being together, even virtually. I've been experiencing that as I've been on West 7th Street in person every day, talking to neighbors and business owners over the last week. There's just a power in presence, in sharing ideas, and in uniting around what we want to see for our future in our neighborhood. I want to assure you that as a council member, it is my top priority to make sure that our neighborhoods are safe. Everyone deserves to live in safety. Everyone deserves to play and to work in safety. And I'm eager to talk to you tonight about what we've been doing so far, and also to hear your thoughts on what we can be doing in addition in the future. But I think Annie said it really, really well. Even as we are focusing on safety and violence and horrible incidents tonight, I know and you know that those incidents do not define who we are as a neighborhood and as a community. And the fact that everyone is here tonight showing up says so much about who we are and what we want to see for ourselves. So violence does not define us. We're here tonight to talk about a different way forward. Finally, before I turn it over, I do want to thank our first responders who responded in absolutely heroic fashion to the incidents this Sunday morning, and also to the Good Samaritans who were nearby who helped out. It was an extraordinary response, and I'm deeply grateful to everyone who was part of that response. I am very lucky to work with some of the best of the St. Paul Police Department. As a city council, we rely on our partners in the city departments to do most of the work every day. And I want to introduce and welcome and really thank Commander Jeremy Ellison, who is here with us tonight, and possibly also Commander Jesse Molnar, although I don't see him, but maybe just Commander Ellison, who until recently was our central commander and then has received a promotion recently because he is so extraordinary. So I will turn things over to Commander Ellison now and look forward to the conversation.
Thank you, Councilmember Noecker. I appreciate that. Commander Molnar is unable to be here tonight. He had some other commitments that he needed to be at, but like it's been said already, I do appreciate the opportunity to be here today. My name is Jeremy Ellison. I'm currently the senior commander for the Central District, which does include West 7th Street. It also includes downtown, the North End, and the West Side. It's been a really great opportunity to be here. I appreciate the relationship that the police department has with the Fort Road Federation. I appreciate the opportunities to come and speak with your the members and the community members of the West 7th Street area. So I know I was asked to talk about a couple of different incidents today. So I'm going to just be real brief about a few of these, and then we can be available for questions in that. But there was a shooting as well as a vehicle crash that happened at the St. Paul Tap back on September 26th at about 8:45 p.m. Where a suspect intentionally drove into a female victim pedestrian that was walking. After doing that, he drove away, and two males who were with that victim fired a gun at the vehicle, did strike that person. Our officers responded. We did end up making an arrest in that case. The victim, the person driving that vehicle had been shot and ended up at the hospital. And through the investigation, they were able to determine exactly what happened. But that case is actually still open and active. Our homicide unit is working that actively. They're still executing search warrants and collecting more evidence. Based on what I was reading, the case will result in charges once they've obtained all that evidence. So again, I'm really proud of our police department and the work that they do. Our homicide unit has the, I don't know if it's the highest, but definitely way higher than the national average as far as clearance rates on crime, homicides. And I'm really proud of that fact. They work extremely hard and do a very good job. The next incident I was asked to talk about is the quadruple homicide that initially we weren't exactly sure where that had happened. But I know that there was a lot of media coverage on this, so many people do know the details, but this happened on September 12th, 2021, and around 3:30 in the morning. This investigation is also still open. However, there was charges filed on two people already, and one of those persons was charged with 4 counts of murder. Really the only explanation for why that one happened came from the suspect's father, who told him that he had snapped and shot 4 people. This suspect has exercised his Fifth Amendment rights to remain silent, and we haven't been able to talk to him about that anymore. But again, our homicide unit have done a tremendous amount of work on that case. I've seen some of the evidence, and I'm confident that they have the one and only suspect who committed that crime. And that this suspect does have prior felony convictions, including one for possession of a firearm by a felon. And then the last incident I was asked to talk about is the one that's been on our minds most, which is the incident at the Truck Park Bar. This one is still open and active. We have a big team working on this, but there has been some charges already as well. And I know that the story has been well documented in the newspaper as well. This all started over a verbal argument, and like all too many other instances in our city, as well as throughout the country, it ended up with people pulling out guns and shooting, which, as we know, tragically ended in a homicide or a murder that evening, as well as 14 other people who were shot. Looking at this, the two people that were charged so far, one of them does have a aggravated robbery conviction in the first degree, which makes them ineligible to possess a firearm. And the other has 5 prior felony convictions for aggravated robbery in the first degree, as well as several other felony convictions. So again, it was illegal for that person to carry a firearm as well. One thing I would like to say too is our officers responded to this incident with professionalism. Many of our officers, I think there were 76 squad cars that responded that evening total, and that wasn't just St. Paul, that was other agencies as well. But they quickly searched for suspects and secured the scene. They began to apply tourniquets and bandages as they were waiting for paramedics to arrive. I'm very proud of the response from our city's first responders. They did a tremendous job. This was a very stressful situation, and some of our officers are still processing what they saw and what they dealt with that evening, just like many of us in the community are. That's, again, why I really appreciate the time to be here tonight with you all and listen to your concerns, listen to what's on your mind. And, you know, I believe it's important for everybody to come together and talk about these things, get the facts, process them, and then hopefully heal as much as we can. So again, happy to answer any specific questions that folks have, but wanted to at least give some high level overview on some of the things that we're seeing. And unfortunately, like I said, not only in St. Paul, but throughout the country, gun violence is on the rise. And I believe that the police department isn't there's not one solution or one thing that's going to fix this problem. It's a combination. It's very complex. A lot of things go into it. But I can tell you that the police department, Chief Axtell, myself, and all the cops, we really care about St. Paul. We really care about what's happening. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to make sure that this community is safe.
Thank you, Commander Ellison. Again, I'm Tony Malero, and I serve on the Executive Committee of the Fort Road Federation. And I want to thank you all for being here this evening. At this point, we're going to stop the recording of the meeting to just